So, you're retiring for the second time.
Yes. You know, I came back because I missed the people, and sending my child to out-of-state college was very expensive.
That's true.
And I was lonesome and kind of bored at home after a little bit. I wasn't at first, but Christian was still here, and then when he went off to college, and it was a little more difficult.
Yeah.
And so it was nice for me to be able to go back. I was watching an awful lot of TV and eating a lot, watching TV with the German Shepherd. And so it's been a really good run to be able to come back. It was difficult though because I came back during COVID. Shortly after I came back, COVID hit. And then we had people out of the building, and so it was a little bit grueling.
I think a lot of people know that you once worked for CNN.
From CNN in Atlanta, seen live around the world, this is Worldview. Hello, I'm Donna Kelley. We will have the latest developments in the strike against Yugoslavia.
But I think a lot of people don't know that you spent a lot of years with CNN.
It wasn't what I intended to do.
In an effort to provide consumers with better nutritional information about their foods, the Bush administration...
I intended to be a teacher like my parents. We would go on Saturday mornings with Dad. He would go down to get some things done, and he was a science teacher, a junior high science teacher, and he coached basketball. So he had these neat little toys. In the old days, you can imagine years ago, he had a little solar panel on the top of a little airplane, and so when you put it in the sun, the little propeller would go. We thought that was just fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
He had mercury, so you could pour that out on the desk, which probably shouldn't do,
that
and then
seems
play with
very
it.
unhealthy.
Yes, right? Yeah, and play with it, and it would break into a whole bunch of pieces, and then you could bring it back into one little pool, and then we'd be running through the halls until the principal said, "What are you girls doing? Who do you belong to?"
Yeah, stop running through the halls, but continue playing with mercury by all means.
Right? You know, and so
those were the days.
Yeah, and my parents were great gardeners, so I learned a lot gardening. I'm not nearly as good a gardener as they are.
Pretty good green thumb?
When people start it for me,
I
do better. I have a tendency to overlove stuff. I overwater it, I over-fertilize it, so I don't do well with houseplants, but outside I can do flowers. But my dad could grow award-winning carrots. I cannot seem to grow carrots. And so I'm going to try again this year. I tried last year, but it just...
What happened to you?
I don't know.
You can't grow a carrot?
I know. I thought maybe I planted them too deep. I think the soil needs some amending, so I'll work on that. Now that I have more time, I'm going to try and focus in a little bit more and do a little bit better job of trying to be a gardener.
Donna the gardener.
Yeah.
So where'd you go to school?
1 year at MSU.
Okay.
And then broadcast school in Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, so my goal is to go and take some other classes at MSU when I get retired.
Are you really going to take classes?
But just for funsies, yeah.
For fun?
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Well, but you know, I just did that story on the Ollie Learning Center. No tests, no papers. So you're just learning, they call it for the joy of learning. Oh. So I think that'll be fun. And
Why couldn't we have had that in school? I would have been such a better student.
Right? Yeah, so and I'd like to...
The joy of learning.
Yeah, so and I'd like to pick up some Italian again. I started teaching Christian, my youngest son, Italian when he was a baby.
Well, naturally.
And that was fun. And so I'd like to pick that up again.
Can you give us a little Italian now? Well,
buongiorno. I'm just working on Duolingo is what I have on my phone, so I'm just starting to pick that back up again.
That's good.
But I used to be able to sing with Christian, Due Elefante. It's a little song, so it's two elephants.
Gotcha.
But that's not necessary to sing that right now.
I would love to hear you sing. I think as the rest of us would.
My sister was the singer. She was a bass player and a lead singer in a number of bands, and she was really good. She was the singer.
Okay, so no singing for you. You play any instruments?
Yes, I learned to play the organ when I was younger.
Oh.
Yes, and I haven't played for years, but I can still knock out jingle bells.
So we can't catch you at church playing the organ?
No, you know, I'm not that good. I'm not good enough to be a church organist, but I always loved that. And when we would go to some churches, when we would make our travels, it was nice to see if somebody was doing an organ concert.
Do you have a favorite moment or story or something that you've worked on here?
Yeah, you know what? I think there's so many great people that it would be difficult to narrow it down.
Yeah.
You know, people used to ask me that about CNN, and of course my first pop-up answer was, oh, when I got to interview Tom Selleck, which was maybe a little...
I love Tom Selleck.
I love Tom Selleck.
What a gentleman.
More than I should. Yeah, so charming.
I met him once.
Did you? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so charming. And he seems like he's not about himself. And I think it's that characteristic probably that reminded me of my dad. And so I always felt like I liked him too, because not only did I love my dad, I liked my dad. And my mom, of course, too. It was just such a spitfire of a woman. But
You didn't tell Tom that, did you? That he reminded you of your dad?
No, in case I don't remember if he was married to his current wife then, and maybe I thought that there was some sort of hope and a chance. No, I don't think so.
So I'll tell you real quick. When I met him, I was living in Hawaii.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
were just
yes.
little kids.
Yeah,
It was Halloween.
Yeah.
And I was dressed as He-Man.
yeah.
My brother was dressed as a clown. Honestly, it's pretty fitting. But, so our mom all of a sudden is like, "Hey, do you guys want to go, meet Tom Selleck?" We're like, "Yeah, of course." I mean, Magnum PI was big, and
Yes, I loved that show.
So we leave trick or treating to go meet Tom Selleck downtown Honolulu. Apparently, he was working out at the time. He was working out at the Honolulu Club. And why she knew all this is,
Because
I
she was
don't
smart,
know.
and she probably liked him too.
well, she did work at TGIF at the time, which was right next door. So somehow she knew, and he had come in a couple times. She said he was really nice, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And so we go and we wait outside for him to come out. Sure enough, he comes out, and she's like, "Tom, it's Vicky.
Oh, wow.
Would you mind taking a picture with my boys and I?" And he's like, "Of course." He was the nicest, just super nice. And so we stood there, took a picture, and the guy who took the picture cut off my brother's head in the picture. Didn't get him. I don't know
shoot.
if he was even looking through the camera, but
Yeah.
So we're standing there with Tom Selleck and my brother. My mom sent it as the family Christmas card that
Of
year.
course she did. I would have too.
But my brother's head was cut off.
Oh, well,
so
yeah.
she had to take from another picture and put his head in the picture. His head was tan. The rest of us looked white because of the flash.
Oh.
And then she sent that out to family.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. From the Sullivans and Tom Selleck. I'm sure my dad loved it. My mom will hate that I told this story, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you look back on stuff like that, it was really funny.
Yeah.
But Tom was
I
a
love
gentleman.
it, though.
and,
Yeah, he's just a lovely, lovely
but
person.
that's what I've heard from a couple people who have met him and said the same thing.
Yeah, I was only sorry that he wasn't in the same studio, which was probably better for me. And people teased me after, like, "Whoa, could you get any more Twitter pated?" Probably, or something,
You've been in a couple of shows.
Oh,
I was
Yeah,
watching
I was-
Contact last week.
yeah,
but-
yeah.
of
My
Jodie
14
Foster.
seconds made it.
And you were on CNN.
Yeah, well, the boss stopped it after that. He said it was too confusing for people, and that
Well,
only
you
Larry
were getting
King.
too big for them. They were going to lose you
Oh no.
to Hollywood.
No, I don't think so. But but Larry King was the only one that was allowed to do movies after that, because Tom Johnson, who was
Yeah.
just a delightful man, head of CNN at the time, said, I think it's too confusing for people. So we were not allowed to do that after. But I was going to see if you would put on your hat over there. I thought maybe you were going to go for Yellowstone.
Oh God, no. I would be perfect in Yellowstone, though.
Yeah, probably.
I would be perfect, wouldn't I?
You tried out.
Well, I didn't try out. No, I didn't. I'd be a perfect, California cowboy.
Yeah, well, you'll like this. A little more inside baseball. When I went, it was during COVID that I went up to do that little part in Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
This lovely casting director called me. I had to go through corporate to get it approved. I had to get a COVID test here. Then I had to go up to Missoula where they were shooting.
Yeah.
Then I had to get another COVID test there, and then you had to sequester it, like at the hotel. The only thing we were allowed to do was go out for a walk, or if you had like maybe food delivered in or something like that. So we did that, and then I went to and promptly drove by where the big set was, and so I was running behind and then went rolling in there, and then I get in there, and I thought we were going to have a prompter, and we didn't have a prompter for my lines. And so I had been looking over those. I found that out the night before, so I'd been looking over them and memorizing, and I thought I was okay. I get in there, and I just go,
Oh, you just went blank?
yes, indeedy. Yes. And so I'm just sitting there mortified. And of course, when you do that, then you really can't think.
Yeah.
And so they had to do multiple takes with me, and I finally got it out. They were lovely to work with, the production people and the director and stuff. They were so lovely. And I finally got it out and marched out of there. So I am so relieved and so embarrassed. So I'm walking out, going back to my trailer.
Oh, you had a trailer?
Yeah.
Wow. Donna had a trailer.
Well, and it was shared with others, I'm sure. So I'm looking down at these couple of dogs as I'm walking back, and I'm not paying enough attention, and I look up, and who is walking toward me but the guy who plays Rip. And I'm like, and I was like, love you. That's all I could come up with. Not love your work. Oh, I love Yellowstone. You guys are fantastic. This has been so much fun to see how you make the storylines, and tell Taylor Sheridan he's just doing a great work. And I can't wait to have you guys an interview at the ranch, because that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. That was kind of my underlying reason for doing it. I thought, great, I'm going to go out to the ranch and I'm going to do an interview with Kevin and Rip and with Beth, and this is going to be fabulous. Well, they didn't do it because of COVID. Yeah. But and he took his trademark toothpick out as he was walking by after I, blurt out this love you. He takes his toothpick out and he goes, thank you. And he keeps walking.
What is next for you? I mean, I know gardening. I know you're going to do some school, but are you going to travel? Are you?
A little bit, I think.
Will we see you on TV at all? Are you going to do any side projects, like a weekly gardening with Donna segment?
Well, maybe, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. A little podcast or something. Maybe.
On how to grow carrots.
Yeah, on how to grow carrots. Yeah, maybe if I can grow any carrots. Yeah, I'm just not sure. What I need to do is get rid of a lot of stuff. I have a tremendous amount of stuff and a tremendous amount of clothes, even just from the old days.
So you're going to open up a secondhand store?
No, I'm going to gift those. And then just try and get a little more squared away, because I don't want the boys to have to do that when I go. I don't want them to have to go through a bunch of
I don't know. Isn't that what every parent does best, is leave their kids a bunch of shit to go through and be like, what do I do with this? And then they end up keeping it in their garage, and people are like, what is all this stuff?
Right? Yeah. Well, I want to put a dent in it for them.
Well,
I want to,
you're sweet.
I just don't want them to have to go through all of that stuff. I mean, how many drawers of stuff can you have?
Well, fortunately, you're still a young lady. You got a long ways to go before they're going to have to go through anything.
Well, thanks, but you just never know. And I think it's best to be, I want
prepared.
Yeah, that's just the word I was going to use. You don't know what's coming, and I think that it doesn't hurt to have a plan and to kind of think on the latter part of your life of what you want to do that's meaningful. It doesn't mean that what we did before is not meaningful. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think you want to watch your P's and Q's, because I think we're all going to be accountable for what we did in this life. And there are some things that I wish I would have done. Boy, I wish I would have been smarter at a younger age. And
I wish I was just smarter in general, but
and me too. Yeah, right. And done some things differently. But you can't, as my first husband says, Cal, you're always looking in the windshield. You're not looking in the rearview mirror, and that's true. And so I think that you want to go on and you want to do some things right.
Yeah.
And I want to spend more time with my children, for sure.
Yeah.
Both of which are available. I would like to see them have some grandchildren before I go, however.
Yeah? Yeah?
So,
That would be nice.
yeah.
I can call Jeff and talk to him seriously.
Would you?
Yeah.
That's my oldest son. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It's got to be a relief, though, to know that you're going to be able to step away from this and really focus on the things you want to do.
It is.
I know how much you love this industry, though. I know how much
Yeah.
you love it. We all do. Like,
Yeah.
it's addicting. You know,
Yeah.
when you leave,
it gets
you
in your
wanna
blood,
come
is what
back
they
and-
always used to
yeah.
say. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So are you going to be able to stay away? It seems like this time
Pretty sure.
you're ready.
Yeah, pretty sure. Would I like to do maybe some conversations or something that would be positive that I feel like might help people? I really love psychology. And one my youngest son is a natural at psychology. He can read people like that, and he's accurate on them, and he's quiet. He has a quiet confidence. Jeff is more gregarious and more talkative.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and but Christian can really read people, and I mean, he got an A in college psychology that he took in high school. But he didn't want to do that. But I think he uses that in other ways.
Yeah.
But I thought, I wonder if he got a little bit of that from me, because I really like psychology, and so that might be some of the classes that I might like to go and take, and maybe should have thought about that a little earlier than this late in life.
How much are you going to miss the viewers and being and delivering like their news, and because I know how important that is to you. Like for some, they don't see it as you may be thinking of it that way. They just see you as someone on television delivering the news, but for you it is personal, it is meaningful.
Mm-hmm. I will miss people a lot. I've noticed after we've started putting the promos on, of the retirement promos, people are a little bit more, approach me a little more easily. And they did before too, but some people would look at me and they'd say, "Are you the news lady?" And I would say, "Yes, I am." And it's just been a privilege to be their news lady, especially in my hometown.
It's pretty special.
Yeah, it really is. And most people have been very kind and appreciative of what we've worked hard to do. We're a small market station. I think people don't remember that sometimes. Yeah. We don't have network resources. Right. We don't have unlimited resources. Yep. We are doing the best we can with what we have, and budgets and all of that jazz. Yep. And I think that people come to know you, and I've been here for 16 years. Yeah. And so, you develop relationships with people, even if you don't meet them in person. And I'm always so delighted when people will say something, even if it's just a quick hi, we watch you every night. So it's always been a privilege, and I hope that when people see me, that they will continue to say hi and that we can have a little conversation, and I won't be in such a big hurry to get back to work. So I'll have more time to visit with them.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? We have been lucky to have you.
Well, I was lucky
here.
You. Well, thank you.
So, cheers.
Oh, well, cheers.
To retirement.
Thank
Second
you.
time.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Cheers. Yeah, maybe we'll call it a sabbatical.
Better not.
Well, you always leave that, don't you leave that so you can do another season? You leave that big cliffhanger ending.